I got change pressure. Well, the way
Good afternoon, morning, good evening, home, Ramaneza. Anyway, whomever is joining us, welcome. Permanent Secretary, the Fed, IOM Chief of Mission, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, fellow panelists, diaspora from around the globe, and distinguished guests. Welcome to today's session, global webinar for diaspora focusing on the financial sector. And we welcome you very much for joining us during the busy schedule. I know it's a weekend, but welcome. Just before we start, I'd like to let's take 5 minutes to allow everybody else to join. I know we have 47 people, but let's just give them 5 more minutes and then we'll start today's session. Thank you very much.
Thank you for welcoming us. We are here in Germany and we are hearing from you. So we are very glad to hear what you have for us today.
Yeah, thank you very much for being welcome to this session. And yeah, thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. Also, while we're waiting for everybody else, please kindly ask that we mute our mics until it's your turn to speak. Feel free to, you can also put on your screens, feel free to put on your screens, please mute your mic. So we're just giving it another 2 or 3 minutes and then we will start. Thank you. Again, thank you very much for joining us on this auspicious occasion. Welcome to today's global webinar targeting the Rwanda community abroad under the theme of engaging diaspora talents to tap into opportunities in Rwanda and Rwanda's finance. So essentially today we're just going to be joined by a group of expert panelists, industry experts within the financial sectors from different institutions. And they'll just be basically sharing with you opportunities that are here, different ways to engage with the with Rwanda while you're abroad, and also how you can tap into the opportunities that are currently at play. We'll also be sharing a good surprise for specifically for the diaspora in Canada and America, initiative that has been spearheaded by IOM in partnership with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Public Service and Labor, and also the Finance Limited. So just to quickly run through the program for you, how this is going to run today. We're going to start with opening remarks from Permanent Secretary at CLINAFED, Clementine Mucheka. And then we'll have a keynote address from Rwanda Finance Limited, which will be presented by the Chief Operations Officer, Tans Mudenje. And then roundtable discussion. I'll introduce the roundtable panelists later on. But basically and then we'll have questions from the audience. So that's you. Feel free to ask any questions, make any comments that you might have regarding to the topic at hand. Again, just to remind you, this is a focus on the financial sector. A lot has been done currently in Rwanda through Rwanda Finance Limited and various key partners. And so without, I think, further ado, I will then now welcome the Permanent Secretary to give opening remarks. Over to you, PS.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good evening. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? All right. Good evening, everyone, excellencies, ambassadors, dear Rwandan community abroad, colleagues from Kigali International Finance Center, IOM, and all panelists. A very warm welcome to all our guests joining us today from across the globe, which is literally everywhere, and greetings from the ministry. Thank you for joining us for this exciting session on diaspora engagement, on how young diaspora talents like yourself can make a significant impact in our Rwandan vibrant finance sector. And today's conversation is organized in collaboration with IOM, as I said, and with KFC. And the aim is really to explore how the diaspora talent can contribute to Rwanda's development through knowledge transfer, investments, employment opportunities available in Rwanda. And your energy, your creativity, and your fresh perspectives are this, we can effectively engage and involve you in our development journey. And living abroad really offers valuable experiences. We have all lived abroad, but yet we encourage you to consider the opportunities back home. And the idea is to turn the brain drain into a brain gain. And through the session today, we will uncover the exciting opportunities awaiting you in Rwanda. We will discuss how your unique skills can contribute to our country's financial growth and explore ways to collaborate effectively across borders. And for those of you maybe at the end of your studies or who feel you have worked long enough abroad, we encourage you, we welcome you to consider opportunities back home, bringing your talents, bringing your ideas to impact our communities. But for those who still, plan to spend a few more years working abroad, you can also contribute to the development of our countries in various ways. You can contribute by, for example, remittances. We will get back to that, how the remittances sent back home can support your local communities, your family, and be invested in various development projects. You can contribute through knowledge and skills transfer, whether through it being mentors, mentorships, volunteering, or partnerships. Your experience can really drive innovation back home. Or simply, the easiest way as well is to promote our Rwandan culture, our traditions, our values in your host countries. You can help raise awareness about our country and inspire others. So I don't want to unveil too much of the discussion today. I will leave the specifics to our panel experts, but remember, your role in the Rwandan development is essential, is pivotal. So tonight, it depends on wherever you are from the the group here, Kigali is already the night. I encourage all of you to share your thoughts, ask questions in the box or online, but most importantly, seize this moment tonight to connect with like-minded peers and with industry leaders. Again, thank you so much for all being here, and I'm looking forward to today's discussion. And thank you, Murakoze Cyane. Let's get started.
Thank you very much, PS Clementine, and thank you for those great insights and wise words. Just to quickly echo what you maybe those who just joined us, just think of something key that I mentioned there is the importance of the contribution of the diaspora network. We always like to joke and say that Rwanda community abroad is almost is the sixth province, and which in fact you are and what you certainly contribute. And you will hear more of that as the industry experts get a chance to speak on that. So just thank you very much, PS, for those words. I will then just quickly hand over to Hortense Mudenge from Rwanda Finance Limited. Over to you, Hortense.
Thank you, Norbert. And thank you, PS, for that introduction. I think, dear Excellencies, Secretary, Minister of Foreign Affairs, and dear Rwandan community abroad, good evening and good afternoon, depending on where you're from. Very happy as well to join you on this webinar. By way of introduction, my name is Hortense Mudenge, and I serve as Chief Strategy for Rwanda Finance Limited. Rwanda Finance Limited is the agency that is developing and promoting Kigali International Financial Center. And for some of you maybe who tend to get it confused, just for clarity, Kigali International Financial Center is not the company or the organization. It's Rwanda's flagship initiative to see how we can transform the country into a financial services hub. So very happy to be with you all this evening, and to share more a bit about what we do, and to understand and share with you some of the opportunities, basically, you could tap into. So as the Kigali International Financial Center, really, it's about how do we position Rwanda as a financial services hub in the region and even beyond. And when you look at financial hubs elsewhere, actually all across the world, they tend to have three key pillars, right? Number one, there needs to be a conducive business and investment environment that can attract the investors and ecosystem to be able to invest in the country or to leverage the country to invest elsewhere. And number two, there has to be incentives, right, that encourage those investors to be able to come into the country. And third, there has to be an ecosystem that is able to support and serve the needs of the investors. And that's really what we have been doing together with our ecosystem for the last 5 years and beyond, of course, in terms of how do we really advance the competitiveness of our financial sector to ensure that we're attracting more business, we're attracting more players. And this is really where we find it critical to tap into the Rwandan community abroad. There are several opportunities that you can tap into, whether through investment or employment or setting up a business. And so most often it's a question of where exactly can you start? Where can one start? What I'd like to call upon is really in terms of the expertise that PS was mentioning. When you look at building an ecosystem, and primarily for Kigali International Financial Center, we're looking at starting with the funds industry. For example, there's an opportunity to be able to set up shop either as a fund administrator or fund manager to be able to support those investors who set up a fund, for example. There's an opportunity to be able to provide a service to the existing institutions. For example, if you are very well versed in technology, there's an opportunity to set up a fintech service or entity to be able to service either the banking industry, the insurance industry, and that's all possible with the different reforms and policies we've been able to put in place over the last 5 years, together with our ecosystem, and that includes regulators and our own ministry. And so really what I'd like to call upon is that there are opportunities to be able for the Rwandan community abroad to either provide products, financial products and services, as well as opportunities for you to be able to come and either partner with a local institution to be able to create, I would say, jobs and more opportunities. So now more specifically for Kigali International Financial Center, we're looking primarily at 3 key areas. Number one is the legal structures. You're able to easily come and set up a special purpose vehicle, a trust, a foundation, if you're into philanthropy. So there's a wide array of different investment entities that you'll be able to set up shop. But even from experience, what we are seeing from the community abroad is that most are coming now to set up what they call trust and corporate services. And these are companies that will be able to enable investors to set up shop easily in Rwanda. But you can be able to facilitate them with either queries on legal, tax, or operational activities. So we're seeing a lot more of our community abroad setting up those, I would say, entities. We're also seeing a lot setting up fintech entities. And as we know, the financial sector all over is undergoing a revolution. And so it's really the technology is going to play a bigger role, especially in our financial services. So we're seeing a lot of young professionals coming up to set up fintech entities to be able to serve our financial sector. And again, that is something that is possible because of the different reforms and incentives that Rwanda has put in place to allow our community to be able to do that. Now, another aspect is that we also see people just coming to leverage their talents, either over the summer, you could say fellowship opportunities where, when someone has a break, they're like, okay, how best can I contribute? And this is where even the partnership we have together with IOM is critical in terms of if you're a young professional abroad, you have experience or expertise in the financial services industry or even related fields, either law, tax, accounting, or cybersecurity. There's an opportunity for you to be able to approach us and see how best you could support the ecosystem. And that's the partnership of the program that PS was mentioning, that we partnered with IOM to see how we can really leverage our community abroad to attract them to come, even albeit for a short time, to be able to support leveraging their expertise and knowledge. And now the other part that could be also important to understand is in terms of training and academia. Now, when you really look at Rwanda's positioning as a financial hub, yes, we have the regulation and the policies, that's great. We have put in place an investment code that allows and affords for tax benefits and incentives. But now what's our weakest link, right? And that's where now the conversation comes with the ecosystem, the professionals who have the expertise to serve the investors. And this is really now where we are building partnerships with key players to be able to provide training in some of these specialized areas: finance, investment management, data management, cybersecurity. These are some of the specialized fields that we don't have enough of currently. And we're looking for partners to see how we can build training programs to be able to uplift and upskill our local professionals. And again, this is an opportunity that as the community abroad, one would be able to create with an international player to set up shop here and be able to serve the system. So really, there are several ways that you could contribute, and there's several opportunities available. I think we always speak in the office that we don't do much really to promote the available opportunities. And I'm very happy that we have great panelists today who will provide even more clarity on some of these opportunities that you can tap into. And so really, without saying much or delaying the conversation, if I might say. At Rwanda Finance, what I really want to leave with you is one thing, is that we are readily available to be able to share more of this information. And you can easily reach out to us, either through the website or our social media handles. We are very active, whether on Twitter or LinkedIn, to share more of this information and to share with you how you can easily tap on these opportunities. The second thing I want to leave with you is this, is that the partnership with IOM and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is a program looking to run to tap into the talents of diaspora, or rather community abroad. So if you're a young professional, financial services, and you have some time during the year, we're very keen to be able to work with you and see how you can support. So you can register with us, and I think Norbert will be able to share more of those details, but more of opportunities for short-term and long-term, I would say, fellowship for young professionals. And so without much further ado, I just want to take the time for being here. If you have any questions, comments, very happy to address them. And yeah, looking forward to a great conversation. Have a good evening. Thank you. Over to you, Norbert.
Thank you very much, Hortense, and thank you for those insights and really telling us what Rwanda Finance Limited is all about and what you're doing here. I hope the diaspora was listening very keenly. And just to really reiterate some of the things you mentioned there, is that really, as most of you might know, some of you that don't know, Rwanda currently is positioning itself to be a regional hub in the financial sector. And what that requires a lot of investments. It also requires the talent, the skills. And that's where we're reaching out to Rwanda community abroad. Some of you that are still studying, some of you that are just about to finish your studies, is to look at the opportunities that are back here, especially within the financial sector. This is a growing priority sector, and there's a lot of opportunities to come. Also, in our drive to be a regional hub for finance, is that we attracting a lot of investments. And in fact, that is why the Young International Financial Sector was established, is to help work with investors, offer them different incentives, help them understand how to tap into those incentives. So if you have any further questions, then feel free to always reach out to the Young International Financial Center. You can also reach out to us, but we will give you an opportunity later after the panel discussion to also interact with them. The idea for this webinar is to make it very interactive and listen to what your ideas, your questions, and just basically talents that are abroad that want to contribute, especially in the financial sector. We will share with you a link. This is an initiative spearheaded by IOM. Throughout the discussion, we'll share on the chat box a link how you can apply for that, and also explain it further during the interaction conversations. So I know we've just reached the half-hour mark. We've still got an hour and a half to go, and we're going to jump straight into the panel discussion. Let me just quickly introduce to you our panelists. I'll start with Dr. Edward Kadozi, who is a sector capacity building analyst from the Skills Office, which was formerly under RDB, but now is under the Ministry of Public Service and Labor. So he will be taking on questions around what the Skills Office actually does and how we connect with the Rwandan community abroad. We also have Regis Rugemanshiro from RSSB. He's the Chief Executive Officer. There's a lot of products that RSSB recently has been gearing towards the diaspora. You can buy houses and so on and so forth, but I'll allow him to talk on that later. We also have Pierce Lestin Wakwumba, and he has been, I know a lot of you are familiar with him. They've been having a lot of these different webinars. I think he's Australian to you. We also be talking the Rwanda Stock Exchange. We also have Emil Chinoma. He is a former diaspora. He was in Canada, worked and studied in Canada. He's now returned. I think he's over 5 now back in Rwanda. He's currently the head of growth at Watu. or to Rwanda, which is an intake that's really established intake. And he will tell you more about that, but also shed some light into his experience when he returned back from Canada. We also have Sandrina Wimbazi, I'm sure you're also familiar with her. She's the director of the Rwanda Community Abroad. She's the one that's basically put all those together. She's the one we always work with when we're trying to reach out to you. And so she will like to us take on some questions. And then lastly and not least, we have Valence Chimeni from the National Bank of Rwanda. And he'll be touching on, in terms of regulation, looking at it from a regulator's perspective, what kind of talent does Rwanda need, especially in the financial sector, but also shed some light into the regulatory. So thank you very much, our panelists. I will then just quickly start off with Dr. Edward Kadozi. How are you, Dr. Edward? Can you hear me?
How I know, but I can hear you, but it's breaking. I don't know whether it is on my side. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you crystal clear.
Okay, thank you.
So that breaking issue, we're just working with that. But so let's get straight into it. As a skills office, I know you recently launched a state of skills demand and supply. That was a report that was launched in 2022, and I know there's more going to come. But just quickly for our audience, can you just tell us what, how the initiative, so from that report, what interventions have you plan on coming up with and have you come up with? What of these interventions are geared towards the diaspora?
Yeah, thank you, Norbert, and Your Excellency, Permanent Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Excellencies, our diplomats and Rwandan communities. Thank you so much for having us as Chief Skills Office. At Chief Skills Office, we do a number of things, but the most main part, they all aggregates to building the competitive labor force the Rwandan economy needs to drive the overall economic development and growth. So these skills are in different ways, but also we also work on the aspect of having jobs, employment, creating employment. So having the right skills that are needed by the employers, but also having an issue of an employment addressed. So we work with the different institutions and sectors, private sector, government, and other non-government organizations to make sure that we are contributing to bridging skills gap in the country, and we are coordinating the skills planning, skills interventions, but also how we create frameworks that make sure that we get the right skills by the economy. So as far as the question, Norbert, you have asked me, we have the state of skills is one of the key interventions we do implement at Chief Skills Office at Timifotra now. So the reason for this is to try to assess how sectors are growing against different sectors of the economy and industry, and what skills they need. Because we want to address this issue of skills mismatch that has been there. And we find how the skills needed, and we advise the government institutions, but also we try to orient job seekers where the right, the opportunities are and how they can skill themselves. So that's mainly what this report does, that is always conducted after 2 years. We look at the supply, but also we look at the demand for skills. So with regards to interventions that perhaps the diaspora would need to look, I will highlight a few so that I give more time to others. So we have been working on the system because we know that our Rwandan community abroad always look to Rwanda and where the opportunities are. So we have created job portal we call a job portal The Coraggio portal, what it does, it tries to bring together, address the information asymmetry, but also access information, whereby job seekers and employers looking for jobs meet at this platform, which is online, and they are able to find the opportunities. So we have been setting up this system, and it is now fully operating, whereby 18,584 jobs have been registered there in different areas and levels. So far, 240 employers have been registered to this job, to this portal. So the 18,000 are people that have been registered on this portal. Then 8,987 are jobs that have been also put there. So what it does, people put their CVs, their information, and once the job comes up, there is this matching that takes place. This is something I think Rwandan communities, mostly our talents, experts, and others who are might be finishing their studies, might need to consider. I would give you example. We have been something of another work I'm doing. We have been looking at the talents, and the diaspora community was one of our target people. But finding these people has been challenging. But this is something, such a platform which is online. You don't need to pay anything. You just put there your information, your CV, and you register there. Then it helps to get information. So we have been working out the database of Rwandan talents, including the diaspora talents. This is something ongoing work we are doing, which I think we have reached out to the diaspora community, demonstrate the talents. This would be helpful for those who are following us that to consider in the future engaging us and make sure that we have the right information. Here, the information, I know most of the people have a concern of providing the information, but your information is always kept protected, and it is applied or used once we have your consent. So this is something that's it's serious, and what we do with this information, once different employers, institutions want this certain talents, they reach out to us. And once we have your information, and it is matching with the skills needed, so we just match with this information. So I think let me stop from here. Maybe some information, other details will come later. But most importantly, with this work we are doing, it is built on the strategy the government of Rwanda, which we are implementing, of national skills development and employment promotion. That strategy does have the 3 pillars, and the 3rd pillar, which touches on matching, that's where Rwandan community, mostly the Rwandan talents, find themselves. That's where we work on that. So we have now a lot of activities we do along with this, including the mapping, including carrying out the assessment of the skills we need in the diaspora, and find how they can be used to bridge the gaps we have in the sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Edwin. Thank you. And you touched on a couple of key points. Just for audience, that report, the State of Skills report, we will share a link on the chat box shortly, but it can also be found under the Rwanda Development website under publications. That's rdb.rw publications. We'll also be sharing the Cora platform, which is, again, just to reiterate what Dr. Kadozi was saying, is really a matching platform So if you're abroad and you're looking for job opportunities in Rwanda, you can use that platform. Kind of serves like LinkedIn, but a homegrown solution here in Rwanda. So thank you very much, and we'll be sharing those links shortly. So let me quickly just jump to Pierre Celeste, CEO of Rwanda Stock Exchange. Hello, Pierre, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you very much. This is Celestin again from Rwanda Stock Exchange. For those who don't know me, I am the CEO of Rwanda Stock Exchange. Of course, here I'm with one of my colleagues. He's head of our operations and IT innovation, Mr. Robert Twagira, who will be staying in conversation. Myself, I will have to go eventually, but he will pick up any of the issues that might arise. But in a nutshell, from what we've been asked to talk about, again, it's about the opportunities available in Rwanda, especially in the financial sector. In particular, I will focus mainly on the stock exchange. What we are doing, not only the stock exchange, actually, I think I can speak with authority on the industry, because we are all in one industry, which is that one of capital markets. The capital markets in Rwanda, as you know, we've been discussing with the diaspora members for some time, but we are part and parcel of that industry. I'm glad my colleague Hortense spoke before me. It makes my job easier because she mentioned a few of the things I wanted to discuss, to talk about myself in terms of opportunities available for the diaspora members. Without any further ado, maybe I can just give a bit of a background on our market, the capital market industry in general, which has been created some time back in 2008. Today, the way it is structured, we have a capital market authority. Those of you in America, it's the equivalent of SEC. And then we have the stock exchange, the Rwanda Stock Exchange. We actually now boasting a commodities exchange, which is called the EAX. Basically, for them, they look after the commodities exchange market in Rwanda. But within the industry, we have intermediaries, different intermediaries. The industry is growing actually quite fast, because I mean, from 2008, where you could speak of a few individual firms, less than 10 people were employed in the industry. It has grown for over maybe more than 29 licensed entities already. That is the capital market industry alone. So in those entities, they are employing people, and they are employing a lot of people, and it's still growing. And now recently, with the coming of the Kigali International Financial Center, which is an ecosystem of all of us in the financial sector, we are seeing more opportunities coming up for employment and so on. So, but as far as the capital market is concerned, we have then that regulator, the stock exchange, and the different intermediaries offering different services. We have a bunch of companies which have listed in the market. We have a lot of bonds which are offering opportunities for investment for the diaspora members, for fixed income. That is the bonds, government bonds, and some corporate bonds. Of recent, we have even started working, actually introducing green bonds and sustainability-linked bonds. I think you must have heard about a BRD bond, which was issued recently, and many more which are in the pipeline. And the industry is growing, and the financial sector in general is growing, and the capital market is there to support that growth of the industry, but in general for the economy. So we have different professions within the industry. We have stockbrokers, we have financial analysts, we have fund managers, we have custodians, and so many others. I'm sure even our colleague Regis is going to touch on that. We have pension sector, which is growing and is hiring, by the way. I'm sure he will talk about it himself. Even in our industry, we are hiring different talents. And since, Rwanda is a country, you excuse me, that I have some technical issue. I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, very good, very good. Yes, I just had I thought it was, I just had a power cut slightly, but it's okay. if you are hearing me. So now what I was saying in general, in the opportunities available in industry, apart from investments, we have opportunities for employment, and we are part and parcel of the program actually Dr. Kadozi was talking about, and Hortense, because we are part of the Financial Sector Skills Council as a stock exchange and the stock market and the capital market fraternity in general. And in that council, we look at all the issues that have to do with employment and skills set that is needed. So people in the diaspora can tap into those opportunities because most of these companies, because they are growing, whether it's the listed companies, whether it's the stock exchange, capital market authority, and all other intermediaries, all the companies, they are constantly looking for skills, which we believe are in the diaspora. They can also look into our websites or those other job portals, which are readily available all the time, and they can look into that. But now, for those members of the diaspora who are, for example, in the still going to school, for example, we have opportunities for internships. The internships, they help people who are looking to get their bearings where they are going to school. We have two types of internships. In the diaspora, members have priority. When you have some member from the diaspora looking for an internship, either an academic internship, it goes between 1 and 2 months, maximum maybe 3. But normally people come for 1 or 2 months for their requirements in their universities. So we provide that for the domestic people, the students who are going to school in Rwanda. But we have also for the diaspora who come, and we give them priority. That's something I think we've had a lot of people coming from the diaspora to work in our industry doing those internships alone. But we also have professional internships. The professional internships we provide, I'm talking about at the level of the stock exchange itself. We do have that for people. We take them on for a period of 6 months at least. So some of them end up actually, if you are lucky enough, then at the time where we are hiring, definitely we can hire. But also we also orient people them if they want to continue within the industry. So we link them to other people because we have a big network of firms and people who are looking for talent all the time. So me talking to you as I am here. We welcome people in the diaspora at any time for inquiries, investment opportunities, even fundraising activities. If you have a good business that can attract investors, definitely we can be able to support you. Me talking to you myself, I am a member of the diaspora at one point in my life. I was a member of the diaspora. I'm sure most of the people here, you are going to be hearing, I can see Sandrine knocking her head. Regis is talking to you, Hortense, myself, and many others have actually come from the diaspora. So and at the time for us we were coming, we just throw the dots in the bush and then we came. We just stood up and came to Rwanda and looked for the opportunities which were there. And there are still many coming. But within the financial sector, definitely, if you look at in our industry, we have many fund managers coming to town. Hortense can tell you that. RSSB, we can see all these people within this industry of financial sector. We are employing a lot of foreigners. What does that tell you? So Rwanda does not care about where you are staying. Rwanda is looking for talent, whether it comes from, even if it's from an international person who's not even Rwandese or who has the nationality of Rwanda. So I think for the diaspora members, definitely we are on to support all the efforts we have, and through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Labor and Rwanda Finance, definitely we can be of help, of support if we need your support. Actually, it's not the other way around. We are supporting each other. I think the industry needs you, and we also you also need us. So we have to keep sharing information. We have a website. My colleague is going to be there maybe to chip in if there's more questions later on in the conversation, because I'm attending another summit. But in a nutshell, that's what is going on within the industry of the capital markets. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, CEO Pierre, and thank you for actually just, how busy your schedule is, just taking this time to be with us. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. I wish you well. Yes, carry on with Robert. And just to really touch on what you really said today, they're really looking for, we run a stock exchange, looking for interns, academic interns, professional interns, and even just natural talent. Right? So if you're returning back, you're working in bonds, you're within the stock markets, you have things, please have a look at Rwanda Stock Exchange, or you can even get in contact with Rwanda Finance Limited. They will happily guide you. But I also just want to, in the chat box, I see Arnold has just shared a link there. This link was shared at 6:43 in the chat box. And this link just goes back to what Hortense was essentially speaking about this program IOM has launched, where IOM will fund you for a period of, I think, 6 months to work within the Rwanda, whether it's Rwanda Stock Exchange, whether it's Rwanda Social Security Board, whether it's banking sector, anyway. So please have a look. There's some very good incentives there. Things like return ticket back home. So it doesn't mean you don't have to be turning Rwanda, but say you want to come and spend 6 times the time period here. All of that we can. You can also reach us on Ministry of Public Service Labor. We'll be more than happy to share with you. Again, thank you very much for your space. And we'll carry on with Robert from there. Let me quickly jump to.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Let me just quickly jump to Emil. Emil was a former was a former diaspora. I think he was in Canada. Emil, are you there?
I'm here.
Yes, Emil. Welcome. Tell us, first of all, we know that you returned how many years ago? When did you return back to?
So this year is going to be 9 years. It went pretty fast.
And you were in Canada. What's city were you in Canada?
So in Canada, I was a product manager for a telecom company, and basically I was in charge of telecom products such as internet, VoIP, even long distance for the North American crowd. They can relate. And I had to prepare board documents and making sure that the products were profitable.
Okay, and so can you just quickly share with us your experience of returning back? How long were you working in Canada before you decided to come to return back to Rwanda?
So
what was that?
So in Canada, I started working. I worked there for 4 years. Initially I went there for my studies, and when I graduated, there was an opportunity to work, and did it. So while I was working in Canada, people in the audience might relate to this. You get to a point when you're in your career, where there's an opportunity for you to want to do more. So I was looking to my siblings who had moved to Rwanda, my older siblings who had moved to Rwanda prior, told me, Emil, you should really consider moving back to Rwanda. It doesn't look like much right now, but there's going to be an acceleration in the development. So I spoke to, to different people who are here, who are doing different things. And I decided to take a chance. I said, listen, I'm stuck where I am right now. And Rwanda seems to be going on the right track. Let me come here and let me contribute to Rwanda, because I always wanted to come back. And I didn't have a set job I was coming to. So I had an open mindset and I said, let me try it. And fast forward 9 years later, I'm on my 3rd CEO gig. So yeah, it was a great choice. I'm not complaining at all. It was great. But just a word of caution to the audience, you're going to take a pay cut. Let's just be honest about this. It's not. It's roses at one point, but it starts off. You need to get used to the environment, and people need to trust you. So you're coming in. A lot of people, yes, you've studied abroad, and you're coming in with all this experience, and Rwanda needs it. I'm very much aware of that. So I'll definitely encourage anyone to come, but I want them to be aware that yes, people will need to know, are you Rwanda proof? Just because you're Rwandan doesn't mean you know how to operate in this environment and be given the responsibilities to lead Rwandans, which is a different set of skill on its own, and you need to learn that. So coming in with the right expectation I think is crucial.
Thank you very much, Eliana. Thank you for that. It's an experience. Thank you. Yeah, I myself as a diaspora can also relate to that. It's just really a message of know what to expect, really, and within time, the opportunities are there. I mean, just heard people telling us it's its third CEO gig. Can you tell us what you're doing at Watu now? What you actually does fintech company?
Yeah, so my title, head of growth, is really misleading. I'm the CEO of the company. When the company is called Watu, they're an asset financing company, and they finance two-wheelers, three-wheelers, motors, for those who know what it is. And in Rwanda, we strictly focus on electric motorbikes, and we're trying to help government help all these internal combustion bikes, petrol bikes, to get migrated over to electric bikes. And the cause is not just because we have a big heart, it's also sensible for the clients. They actually make significant savings. And that's why we felt it was a smart business decision to do this. So we're not only we're not in it just to do good, to do well, but we also want to do good in what we do. Just as a side note, Watu is one of the biggest asset financing companies for two-wheelers and three-wheelers in East Africa. And we are now also launching in other markets device financing, which is the financing of smartphones, and it's picking up like wildfire. And we believe that coming in the near future, we want to launch this in Rwanda as well.
Thank you very much, Leo. Let me just quickly jump to Valence from the BNR, National Bank of Rwanda. Hello, Valence, are you there?
Hello, you hear me?
Yes, crystal clear. How are you doing?
Very well.
Thank you very much again for taking the time to do that. Just to quickly then jump into this. Earlier we heard Dr. Kadozi talking about the state of skills, supply and demand, what skills are on the market. And I just wanted to understand and help our audience also understand. As a regulator, what has been the trends in the skills, where are the skills gaps in the finance sector, where are we looking to, which skills are we looking to tap into, especially going forward with our vision of being middle income country in 2025, but also first income country in 2050. What skill sets are we looking at and what are we lacking?
Thank you very much, Excellencies, participants to this webinar. Good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm very happy to participate in this webinar representing the National Bank of Rwanda. And you allow me to speak while my video is off. My internet is very weak. So maybe before I jump into the skills, allow me to tell you who we are, the National Bank of Rwanda. We are a regulator and supervisor of financial services. We regulate, around 663 institutions. Okay. That includes the banks, includes insurance companies.
No, Donald, can you hear us? Okay. Sorry about that.
Yes.
You can go ahead.
It's all right. So I was saying that we supervise and regulate around 663 institutions. That includes the banks, insurance companies, microfinance institutions. That include 416 Umurenge SACCOs, pension schemes, payment systems, non-deposit taking financial institutions, and financial service providers. So I have to say that, we regulate a stable financial system. And as you think about coming and working in Rwanda, I think you would want to work in a stable system. You wouldn't want to come and work for an institution that is bound to fail. So I have to confirm that our financial sector is sound and stable. At least for the last 10 years, we've never had a systemic financial crisis. We have well-capitalized, well-liquid financial institutions and very dynamic. We have a very dynamic sector, dynamic in a sense that, we've been having new institutions joining our market. We've been having new products. We've been having digitization of the sector, and we've been recently having mergers. So there's two very good dynamics, happening in our sector. And what's our vision with regard to, oversight of our sector? We want and will continue wanting to have a developed sector that is capable of mobilizing enough resources to finance the development. And I have to say that, we are making gains in terms of developing a sector that is inclusive, that leaves nobody behind. And we want a sector that is efficient, doing intermediation in a most efficient way possible. So how do we intervene and how do we supervise the sector? One of our focus areas has been capacity building, because you cannot develop a sector without having the skill sets. And developing and having the skill sets sits at the center. It's the pillar of developing the financial sector. And we are working with the Kigali International Financial Center as well as RDB in terms of setting up a National Financial Skills Council that will coordinate all the interventions to skill our people in the sector, but at the same time tap into the foreign skills, including starting with our local, our people, Rwandan diaspora. And I think that's the starting point and the main reason as to why I think we're having this webinar. Before we start tapping into the skills of foreign nationals, I think we better start with our own people. And I'm very sure we have qualified Rwandan professionals working in financial sector abroad. So in terms of skills, I have to say it's been a journey. I think in the 2000s, we were so much dependent on regional experts. And I think Hortense alluded on this, having very many COOs, chief operating officers, who were regional, experts from mainly Kenya, but also accountants coming from the region. But I have to say that, we've made gains. We've been, progressing, training our people, thanks to institutes like ICPAL that has been training our accountants and guiding them to certification. We've been having our own people taking on courses like CC, that's a Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments. We've been having our professionals taking Chartered Institute of Insurance. So we've been having some training and capacity building within our market. However, we still have gaps. I'm not saying that, we don't need you. We need you so much. And someone said that, the contribution of Rwandan diaspora is very significant. I have to back this statement with numbers. Last year, remittances, I think, was the second most foreign exchange earner for Rwanda, second to tourism. We got around 457 million from remittances. That was second to remittance. For the first time now, remittances are the second foreign exchange earner for Rwanda. So you can imagine how much you're contributing to this economy. So now I'm saying that, in addition to your money, we need your skills. We need your skills. And there are very many gaps. There are very many areas that you can contribute. And most of these areas, I think Hortense touched on them. Number one being cybersecurity. As our financial sector is getting gradual and progressively digitized with the increasing use of technology in different, financial services, cyber risks are increasing. And you don't train an expert overnight. It requires experience. So I'm very sure there are Rwandan diaspora skilled people in this area out there that can contribute to our country in terms of bridging these cyber skills gaps in our sector and in our economy. In other areas in the fintech space, as you know, there is great promise on how technology can disrupt and improve financial services. But technology is about tech adept, tech skilled people. So people skilled in fintechs, you're welcome. There is enormous demand in our market. We have demands in green finance. You've heard about climate change data being a challenge, climate change measurement, reportings. I mean, that's an area that at a global scale there are skill gaps, but in developing countries even the gaps are even much bigger. So if you're skilled in this area, green finance, please come and support. There is room, there is opportunity. That the Rwanda, the National Skills Council that is being developed. The first thing that we did was the skills audit, and that the results of that skills audit will be shared with you, trying to understand what gaps do we have, what gaps do we have today, and what gaps do we have tomorrow. Simply because, and within the context of KIFC, we don't see our financial sector as of today. There's where we want to take it. We are positioning ourselves to be a center serving Africa. So there are skills that are required in our market today, but there are also skills required in where we are taking the sector. There are skills to do with, for example, we need specialized lawyers, we need private equity, venture capital experts, we need actuarial experts, we need hedge fund experts, we need qualified underwriters, we need qualified trustees. It's a long list of areas that you can contribute. So I'll stop there, but with a statement that, we need your skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Valens. That was actually very, very enlightening. And just to bring back Dr. Kadozi, something that keeps coming up, I think Valens is third, if not the fourth person to mention it, is the sector skills council. I know that was spearheaded under the skills office, and you brought together the private sector, academia, also government. Can you just quickly, I know, and in fact, just to maybe congratulate Valens and Pierre who are part of that council. It's actually the most successful council. I think skills council. Also have the mining, the manufacturing, culture, tourism, and so on and so forth. And they seem to be developing. The financial sector skills council is incredible. Dr. Can you just please just tell us what it actually is, what it does, what it means to the diaspora, how it can help the diaspora?
Yeah, thank you, Norbert. Maybe I can hear it is breaking on my side. Let me take off the video, maybe explain. Yeah, thank you. I think if I got you right, you wanted more details about Sector Skills Council.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you. There are some questions that came out from the chat. Perhaps maybe I can answer them later. So regarding the Sector Skills Council, this is a very critical initiatives that were thought by the government of Rwanda, mostly our leadership, to set up these platforms or structures that will address the question of the question of skills gap, but also the question of the skills that really come up when they are not really responding to the real needs of the market. That is a skills mismatch. So skills, Sector Skills Council, it's a structure that brings together the government, the private sector, the academia, professional bodies, to think about the skills that are required by that particular sector. And I will use, if you allow, I will use the case of finance sector. So, and what Otans and Valens have explained. So we come as a sector, as a finance, we think, we go through the analysis, we assess, we look at the trends of the growth of the sector, and we see which skills that might be required in the short run, but also in the long run. And then we plan for these skills. Planning and implementing to create these skills is one part, but also making sure that we are creating the right skills, regulation. So as Valens mentioned about the regulations of the finance sector, but also we have to make sure that we are regulating the skills creation or skills development to make sure that we are getting the right skills. So that is the role of the Sector Skills Council. So as all these actors come together, we identify the right skills, then we give feedback to the skills developers, or here I mean academia, I mean professional bodies and other training providers. And then we tell them these are the skills that are required, but also enable to think through which skills can we get from other parts, let's say in this case, in the diaspora. So that is more the concept of Sector Skills Council, and we have the government of Rwanda through Chief Skills Office at Ministry of Labor and Public Service. We have created a number of Sector Skills Council. The one for finance, it is growing, and I think you have heard more details about it, and perhaps my colleagues will share even more. And we have more also other Sector Skills Council in tourism, in agriculture, in infrastructure, manufacturing, in health. So there are a number of Sector Skills Councils that are coming up. So our role as a Chief Skills Office is to make sure that we are creating these skills together with our stakeholders or partners from different Sector Skills Councils, sectors, and we are making sure that they are operating and they are creating the right skills, they're helping the right skills. So I think, no, but that's in a nutshell about the Sector Skills Council. So I had forgotten the one for mining, I closed the follow-up. So maybe other details would come. I don't know whether you allow me to respond even on some questions that came up from the chat, or I can respond to them later.
We will respond to them later. We'll take them on later. We just have, I want to quickly bring in Regis, CEO from RSSB. Then just quickly jump to Sandrine, and then we will start taking questions. Regis, are you there?
Yes, I can.
So I heard.
Can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly clearly. They told me I was breaking. Can you hear me clearly?
We can hear you well.
Yeah. Okay, shoot. Go ahead. So how are you, Regis? How are you doing?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having us. Good evening, good morning, Excellencies on the call. And good evening and good morning, everyone, depending on which part of the world you are. Privileged to be on this call. Thank you, Minafet, and KFC for inviting us. A bit about RSSB, or Rwanda Social Security Board. It's the organization that is trusted to manage and administer 6 schemes, namely
Sorry, Regis, you seem to have lost you there. Are you there?
Civil servants and some private companies on an eligibility basis. We manage also the maternity leave, mutuelle de santé, or also known as CBHI, and we also manage Ejo Heza as well, which is the youngest scheme, which is about 5 years old this year. The fund asset under management is close to $2 billion and growing very fast at the pace of around 14% year on year. So as the formal sector continue to increase So does the pension, especially if you look at the contribution from the statutory kind of schemes, namely the pension, occupation hazard, maternity leave, and also the fact that Rwandans have fully understood the need to use mutuelle de santé or health insurance for the informal sector. Last year, where we had a record number of 90% of Rwandans subscribed to mutuelle de santé. Collectively, between Rama and mutuelle de santé, RSSB insures 94% of the Rwandan population. So with that, the fund continued to grow. And with that, the surpluses that are not used on the insurance side are used for investment. So being about $2 billion fund represent around 17% of the GDP and are the single largest liquidity supplier of the financial markets. We play a very important role in the financial sector. Majority shareholders in a numbers of banks, insurance companies, and really plays the role of RSB playing the role of catalytic investor, supporting national development agenda, de-risking certain sectors, growing them, and then exiting to let the private sector take on and grow the companies. So in a nutshell, that's what we do. We are, in terms of portfolio, for those interested, about 60% of our portfolio is in fixed income. Subscribe heavily on the government local debt, but also supplying liquidity, as I mentioned, to local banks. And the remaining 40 is between equity investments and real estate. And with all that, there's tremendous opportunities for not only Rwandans and private sector to partner with RSSB. I'll share some examples. For the past 5 years, well, 4 years, since 2020, RSSB, again, being the organization that it is and the size that it has and the critical mind that it has, we have been in a transformational agenda. And I want to speak on this because speaking on diaspora, I would hope and assume that there are those who might be interested to come home and wondering, how do I participate? With such a size as an organization, everything you do is big and impactful. But also, so our mistakes are very expensive. And with that, we are mindful of, people do all the work. So we're always on the lookout for the best talent join RSSB. It has worked out so far where we have had a good number of people moving back to Rwanda. Part of our executive team, our senior management, we have some people, young ladies, young women, very bright, good opportunities in their respective countries where they live that have managed to accept to join the journey that we have embarked on, including myself, maybe a little bit about myself as well. I spent 13 years in the US. I did my education, higher education there, worked for HP, Hewlett Packard, as a consultant, then later moved to Accenture as a consultant as well, in the senior management of the organization. Then I moved to Rwanda in 2017. I think, like many of you on the call, home is home, and you can be good and promoted throughout the different hierarchy in different organizations you work at, but you're still a small piece of a bigger machine. And nothing feels better and is more fulfilling than when you're able to do that home. My journey started in 2017. I always knew I was going to come back home, and I always considered living abroad as Ngando. Ngando. You are there, you are learning. You're packing your bag, and the skills, the network. In the end, is to help you come back home and contribute in a way that is hopefully significant. And I have been so far privileged to really play very interesting roles. Call it a privilege because it comes with a lot of responsibilities as well. When I moved to Rwanda, I was privileged, fortunate to start, help the Bank of Kigali Group start the fintech company called BK Tech House. And after that, I was at the group level as chief digital officer. And then 2020, I was privileged to serve here at RSSB as the CEO. And here, for anyone who might be listening, if you ask me 7 years ago, did I see myself doing this? No, not at all. But one thing that maybe to build on what Emil said, when you choose to move to Rwanda, you can't do it with a half heart. You have to come fully loaded, not just with the skills and the brain that you've picked up with the strong heart. If you look at many things that Rwanda is doing, and maybe living abroad, you always wonder, how does it happen? You know, and there are amazing, smart people, hardworking, that are working day and night, not only for all of us to enjoy the peace and security that we have, but for the country to grow at the pace it's growing. And sometimes you don't see it from the outside, but when you get in, has been the greatest fulfilling jobs. And I've had some good big projects, either at Microsoft or T-Mobile, where I used to be in Seattle. But being here in Rwanda, and maybe to build on what Emil said, you know, I think what he referred to as the skill of how to learn the system, there's nothing really, you know, mystique about it, right? It's you just have to accept that it won't be easy, but it's possible, right? And I know most of you smart people here on the call, you don't want easy anyway, right? And probably where you are, you're already doing hard work. For other countries, maybe you have double nationality, which is also good. But being in Rwanda as a young person and privileged to, you know, again, another thing you see in Rwanda, it's about results, right? And you see many young people in prominent roles. Every one of them, at least those I know and I get a chance to speak, they are very well deserving and hardworking, smart people. And they would be rock stars in their own right in any environment they will operate in. And most of you young people working abroad, you know, Rwanda will definitely make you count, in the sense that, what does that mean? Like, they'll make your skills count, right? They'll put you to work. It's not easy. And again, I'm not saying it's supposed to be. And that's why other countries are not able to do it. And we need that young energy, right? Because long days, long hours, at least, you know, there's a good saying, you know, I hope so. And you really get to feel it when you're actually working here in Rwanda. And one thing I love, actually, having moved here, is, you know, government in Rwanda operates like a business, right? The level of demand and expectation, the level of quality of service, I can refer to RSSB, where I'm privileged to serve. We look at every KPI just like any business, right? And plus, on top of that, we're actually, well, as an investment, as a fund with responsibility to manage investments, you must do that, and you must do it very well, because, as I said earlier, mistakes are very expensive. So, you know, KPIs are, you know, just like any corp company, and this in government, where time is really money, right? And you hear some of the partners of Rwanda say, you know, Rwanda is one of those countries where every money not only is accounted for, but seems to be multiplied, right? And it's nothing else but people who are doing the hard work. And I'm saying this to say, as a person who has walked the talk in terms of moving abroad and moving to Rwanda, and I don't think there's anything you can give me today and convince me to go back and do what I did. Not that opportunities are lacking, but because I know the role I'm privileged to play matters. And not because I'm a CEO, I felt that way even before I was at the RSSB, because you see the work and the results of what you're doing visible, right? So I want to encourage everyone on the call, if you're listening, you might discover yourself, you know, and being put to task and challenged. Rwanda will challenge you, but I know most of you want to be challenged as well. You know, so if you want to be tested, if you come here next time for your next holiday, my comments would be, you know, whether at RSSB, whether through KFC or through RDB, we will make sure we find you time. You know, one thing that helped me, at least to connect back, was every time I used to be home, I will link up with people, and I will help from abroad, right? You don't have to be in Rwanda actually to help, because in your free time, you know, with what they call now the gig economy, you don't have to be in Rwanda. You might be surprised of how much value you can add by, you know, reviewing a paper, writing a white paper, maybe with Bank of Kigali, KFC, RSSB, because what you're doing anywhere, your skills are applicable here as well. So don't wait to say I have to move back to do. Just say I'm available. You know, my skills are this. I'm a health economist. I'm an actuarial. I'm an investments professional. I'm a finance expert. I'm a doctor. Your skills matter, and you know, today, whether you can teach people, you can teach a class online, you know, and all these are opportunities for diaspora to really contribute. And once you start, it's almost addictive, you know, because, you know, when they say Rwanda works, it's good to do things to see the outcome, and it's home. You we all know, at least everyone on the call, that we are here as a country because we're standing on shoulders of giants. And one thing that feels really good as a young person is to be able to contribute as well, right? We're here because other people made sacrifices, worked very hard to get us where we are as a country. And now it's about the economy, right? It's about education. How do we educate our people? How do we build our economy? How do we develop our private sector? How do we develop or formalize our informal sector? That's the war that it is today, right? Because peace and stability are there, earned, guaranteed. Now it's, I like to tell my team at RSSB, we are commercial soldiers. And if you don't see yourself as such, because you have to understand that the options are limited, the alternatives are not viable, right? We must succeed, we must build, just like that mindset of a soldier, because you can't go back. And it really helps because that fighting spirit, I would say in my humble experience, that you find whether in a government or in private sector is what really helps move the country forward. And so I'm encouraging you, I'm putting a call for action, just volunteer. And you might be surprised, you might, go back and book a one-way ticket just because of that capacity to be used and to do things that matter. So beyond that, I want to speak a little bit about RSSB and opportunities that are available. As I mentioned, RSSB, we have been through a period of transformation for the past 4 years, leading to the 5th year. And this transformation touched every aspect of the organization, from the legal status where we acquired autonomy and the visionary leadership of the country, making an institution like RSSB autonomous, still under the line Ministry of Minecofin, empowered the organization to do things faster and better without the lengthy channels of decisions making that used to be previously. And those are things that are possible. And behind the scene, you can't see it. You probably think we bought it. But these are people who have moved from Morocco, from France, from Germany, educated here as well from Coding Academy, who are doing that work. And I will invite anyone who will be in the country next time, if you want to do a tour and visit our digital factory that operates at Norsken, right? If you want to attract the young, bright minds, you have to give them what they want. So our digital factory operates at Norsken, the innovation center here in Kigali. But beyond that, so part of the transformation includes the restructuring of the organization. And with that, we are recruiting massively. So if you can go on our website at rssb.rw, you will see there are many openings. We do it in phases, but we are looking for health economists, accountants, financial experts, investment experts. I'll give you a simple example to give you an idea of how big is the demand. We launched 3 years ago an investment private equity with Qatari Investment Authority, right? $250 million, and recently PIC, South African Pension Fund, also invested $30 million. The CEO is Zimbabwean, right? We struggle to find a Rwandan qualified to be placed there, right? And, but because it's a Pan-African fund, you can look it up. It's called the Virunga Africa Fund 1. It's managed by a fund management firm called Adamayus, led by a Zimbabwean called Marlon Chikwende. We hired to manage that fund. And our goal is to build capacity. So we have partnerships with QIA and other big investment firms to help us build capacity, sending people for internship, secondment programs. But you can understand that that was our first fund, $280 million today. When we set our second fund, which we plan to do, I would hope not to have to hire foreigners to do that, right? If we have Rwandans in the US, in Europe, Latin America, or Canada, who are in the investment field or working for funds, you've probably seen in the news we are going to launch a 30 billion Rwandan francs SME funds, purely in Rwanda, not Pan-African, just purely in Rwanda. The $280 million is Pan-African. And we just invested our first deal in Rwanda with $11 million last week. But the second one, 30 billion Rwandan francs, will be for SMEs in Rwanda. I would hope we don't have to bring foreigners to run that fund for us. For when you cover over 95% of the population in health, you need, every decision matters. You can't afford mistakes. So we need health economists, we need actuarials, we need economists. So I'm happy to share with RDB and Minafet, the team that organized all our jobs that are the lookout. Tech people, developers, cybersecurity, all that we are looking for. So maybe I don't want to take more time from anyone, but just want to leave that we are looking for talent. We will make sure screen your CV if you send it. Check our website, rssb.rw. Let's see, the roles are open. The fund is growing. The fund needs talent, Rwandan talent. And but even to consider if you want to work remote, maybe to start from there. And then again, living up action, call for action. I think later on, the sooner the better. Don't wait to say, oh, I'm going to spend 10 years, I'm going to spend 15 years and move. Rwanda needs you now, right? And the more the better. I don't think there will ever be oversupply of talent at the pace at which the engine of Rwanda is moving. So it's possible. It's not easy, it's not meant to be, but it's very exciting and it's very fulfilling. And I hope at some point some of you will meet and just say, hey, thank you for that call, and it really helped me move to Rwanda. And you have all the support from everyone who spoke, that when you come, you'll be supported, you won't be alone. And one thing I really appreciate also, the senior cadres on the call who, when you move, helps you and show you the way. There are some things you have to understand, it's true. But as long as you have the heart and the commitment and the will, you will never regret it. So thank you. I submit. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much, Regis. I think I couldn't have said it better myself. And I think you really just, in a nutshell, covered what this whole webinar session is all about. And very well spoken, very good advice to Diaspora. I hope they had a chance to listen. And just to, really just something that you said that really touched is that call to action that you put out. 30 billion SME fund. 30 billion, I think that's in Rwandese francs. 30 billion SME, small medium enterprise fund. They're looking for somebody to manage it, but you can understand what that means. So all of you in the Rwandan community abroad, please take a look at that. I think there's more information on that on the RSSB website. If you need if you can't find it, please feel free to reach out to us, Minafet, Rwanda Finance Limited, even us, Skills Office, will be more than happy to share with you that information. I see we just left with 30 minutes. Before we go to the audience, I just want to quickly go to Sandrine. Sandrine, I see we have there's a couple of ambassadors, high commissioners here in the room. And I just wanted to pose this question really. What can the embassies and the high commission offices abroad do in terms of ensuring the increase of diaspora engagement? I think in the past we've worked very well with them, and we just want to congratulate you again, Your Excellencies. But what more can we do, Sandrine? This is over to you.
Thank you very much. I would like to start by saying hi to everyone, Excellencies. Something about that. Excellencies, ambassadors, excellencies, commissioners, Nigeria, Rwanda, Kigali, dear colleague, Rwandan community abroad. Thank you very much. I would like to thank you very much for joining us. Where you are in the evening, morning, we always appreciate the way you always respond positively to whenever we invite you and sessions, webinars, or other activities. So, let's start by saying that you are aware of national country by 2035 and a high income country by 2060. So to achieve these goals, it is to engage Rwanda speaking about. So because they are important constituencies to the country. So making them aware of opportunities. It's very, very important. So come back to the question regarding the so how can they play role between the financial sector? This is one, especially now we have one being supported by migration that the government of Rwanda together the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Labor, Rwanda Finance, as well as other institutions. We are trying to put out there many initiatives to attract, to give our opportunity to our fellow Rwandans living abroad. So let me start by maybe giving some initiatives that be organized in our diplomatic missions. So the first, I would like to start by facilitation of networks, networking events and workshops. So diplomatic missions, they usually meet the ambassadors, they usually meet Rwandans living in their respective jurisdictions. So they can still coordinate networking events, career fairs, and workshops to connect with financial professionals, finance professionals. Sometimes we see many Rwandans giving contribution or attending many government programs. But I think that if also they multiply those gatherings and also inviting more and more professionals in the diaspora, and also we take products with Rwanda, invite them to the financial sector. So these gatherings can foster relationships and provide a platform for exchanging ideas and opportunities. For example, the Rwanda Day recently happened in Washington. Rwanda Day, an event graced by His Excellency the Republic, serves as a model that unites Rwandans living abroad and can offer and also offers opportunities to discuss collaboration and investments. Another initiative that will be organized in our diplomatic mission abroad is promotion of investment and career opportunities. Engage active promotion, use our embassy channels, social media, and community outreach program to actively promote job opportunities, investment prospects, and short-term assignments in Rwanda's financial sector. There are also talking about platforms. Dr. Kedoti mentioned on the encouragement portal. There's also this Diaspora portal from IAM where we also engaging our diaspora to come and contribute. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have also developed a portal called Rwanda Community Abroad RW, which will help or facilitate to showcase various incentives and opportunities in different sectors, different activities, such as investments, careers, special events for our fellow Rwandans living abroad. I would like to say that please visit this website. We're going to share the link in the chat because that's probably going to find all kinds of information easily. I know a lot of you have been asking that question, even for perspectives or a common sense of knowledge of database of Rwandans living abroad. You're going to know how many people are there, so that's a typical question that we always ask, and how many professionals, how can we type into the expertise, or if we're looking for investors or any other opportunities we would like to share to them. So we're going to use this portal by linking them with different portals from the Ministry of Labor, from the RDB for investment, and so and so on. So, and also another initiative that embassies can do is to do partnerships with financial institutions and educational entities in their respective jurisdictions. For example, establish partnerships with leading financial sectors at the states, universities. We know that in North America, we have many scholars, many professors who are teaching, and they can connect easily to engage for diaspora and do partnership programs. So internships, scholarship for Rwandan student and professionals. So, and also to promote collaboration with Rwandan entities like Rwanda Finance, for example, or Rwanda Development Board. And also, we need to support that. So, to provide support with information, so there could be some certification on training programs in finance. can enhance the skills of Rwandans in the diaspora, making them more competitive for in Rwanda. So, and also information provision. So, provide relevant educational courses that align with Rwanda's financial sector needs. So, this is also something that we can really useful. So, also create incentives for future efficiency. Just for the different speakers, also mentioned how they are looking for to collaborate with Rwanda saving abroad. They are offering jobs, they are offering internships. Also, their incentives are there. We have heard from Rwanda Stock Exchange, RSS, their National Bank of Rwanda, so Rwanda Finance at the beginning. So you can see how Rwanda is there, it's close to you. You just have to see how we can package all these, collaborate together with the Rwandan government to develop incentive packages for diaspora professionals who wish to return and contribute to the financial sector. So, like this webinar, we have started, but we can do also other kind of incentives, including tax breaks, for example. We know that now there is a good incentive when a Rwandan decide to come back home for the very first time, or they have an opportunity of having a tax deduction on their personal items, including the vehicle. That's a big incentive. Work with the other institution, the finance, see what kind of packages also we can see. In banks, we can banks, for example, Bank of Kigali, INM Bank, Equity, they have been engaged in different initiatives to support diaspora. They have been put out there financial packages or financial offers when you open an account, for example. There are some bank accounts. It's different opportunities from there for this financial service. So we can also looking at other incentives, location assistance, housing support, and so and so. So, and also I would like to speak about this initiative. The last one will be the facilitated integration. So when you come back, I like the way you must say when you came back. Rachel just talked about how he lived in abroad, Pierre Celeste as well. So sometimes even myself, Adam PS, we all used to live abroad. It's not easy when you come back to live in the country. When from the country you were living in and then change to another country. There are a lot of things that you may not know. It's very important that also to assist returning professionals with necessary documentation and provide advisory services to ensure there's smooth integration in the Rwandan workforce. So organize group study visits to the diaspora to explore Rwanda. Yes, we are inviting you to just maybe you can organize yourself, speak to your embassy or the High Commission, come as young professionals, a group of 20, and then we can see how we can organize a well-packaged study visit tour in Rwanda, where you can embrace or meet different actors in the financial sector who will also talk about these interests. And diplomatic missions can significantly enhance the contribution of Rwandan talents, the Rwandan diaspora, to the development of Rwanda's financial sector. So as Rwanda commemorates the 30 years anniversary of genocide against Tutsi, soon to celebrate the 30th anniversary of liberation of Rwanda, the achievements and rapid growth are remarkable. So the RCA, the Rwanda Community Abroad, can leverage these milestones and embrace new opportunities. So Rwanda and abroad don't necessarily need to move back home, we heard that. So you can share your insights, invest, contribute from whatever you are. acting as ambassadors of the country's potential in the competitions. So you are invited to support Rwanda's transformation in the financial sector. With your extensive skills, you can make a significant contribution. Rwanda is open, friendship, and exposed to you more than ever. Rwanda works. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandrine. And that was very enlightening and very educative. Just to touch on I think maybe some people were struggling to hear you, but just to touch on something very key that you talked about was the Rwanda Community Abroad portal. So please visit that portal. I know I've been seeing it quite a bit on Twitter. If you go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Corporations Twitter page, just scroll through the different news feed. You'll definitely see it. Have a look at it. I think it answers a lot of the questions that have actually been coming through the chat box. And yeah, we can. I think, Sandrine, am I incorrect saying that there's a dialogue can be had on that portal?
Yes, it's actually they can take it. On the link in the chat box. They just go there, they can find out opportunities. There are many to come. So we are actually for this knowledge of opportunities. We are working with the Ministry of Labor from our state office. Put opportunities, especially for targeting diaspora with rare skills. So all those skills, information regarding also investments as well. So everything will be put out there. So we are encouraging people to join and also request a consular cards that will also help to get more information. Also, this photo will also be used to get, for example, if there is an event in Rwanda where also we need diaspora to, oh, the link is not working. Okay. It is, just try again. Oh, yes, there is a mistake in the, yes, and let me share to you another one. Yes, I was saying that we're going to put out there events dedicated for diaspora. We know sometimes Rwandans living abroad, they are looking forward to know what's going on in the country. They are also engaged to participate in different events or training programs. Let's say, for example, editorial programs, and so it's more in our Mushikila. So this photo will be like the hub, the area where we can, all the Rwandans or diaspora can find much useful information.
Okay, thank you very much. And yeah, so there you have it. Really, this is a portal where we can engage, we can interact, we can keep you up to date with the trends that are happening here, but also tap into some of those skills that in the businesses. I saw somebody ask a question about what about us abroad businesses? How can we partner? So this, in fact, that portal is there to serve all those purposes. I see we just got 10 more minutes left. I think maybe we'll take 2 or 3 questions. I'm sorry about not giving enough time, but we're obviously having more of these sessions in the future. These are continuous sessions, but especially the questions that have come through on the chat box, we've saved them, and we will definitely be answering them through that community portal. So I just, from our audience, our participants, please just raise your hand if you have a question. We will take 3 quick questions, and then we'll give closing remarks to the Chief of Mission from IAM, Ash Call. So let's see those hands.
Robert.
Yes.
Maybe it would be helpful if we could first address the questions that have been raised in the chat.
Yes, so those ones we've noted them and we've saved them. I thought maybe those ones, people that did raise them, it would be easier to save time that they raise them here. So even if you've asked a question in the chat box, please just raise your hand here and ask it here, just to save time. If not, then we'll just go ahead and read them out. Scrolling through, looking for hands. Okay, I think Edward, we'll go ahead and tackle the questions that are on the chat box since there are no hands being raised. Right here, there's a hand somewhere. Yes, please, Marinej, go ahead.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Marinej. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you too for the invitation. It is a real interesting conference here, discussion. I love it. Yeah, I just sent I posted my my question. So let me. Blah, blah, blah. I had two remarks. The first one was regarding the comments. What Monsieur Emile Kinuma was saying about experience of people, of young people, or experience. First of all, to gain experience, example 5 years or more. Before that, maybe we come to in the country for looking a job. But yeah, I was just agree with Monsieur Emile. But however, I want just I have a remark that gaining experience abroad is also means offering a higher salary compared to the local salary scale. So which is often a problematic question for the diaspora, for the young people, or for the person who come to look for a job to offer her experience and knowledge, but also a challenge for the employers in Rwanda. So my question was, are we ready to consider this important aspect for the person who brings their knowledge, experience in Rwanda actually now? Because I'm speaking with my own experience, but it was few years. It was in 2016. So maybe the salary scale or this question has been already addressed. But yeah, I just want to know, because for me, how, if not, we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marinej. And so, Emile, I think that was to you, and it was more of, what can we do? What can we, from your experience, what do you think together, Rwandan community abroad, but also government of Rwanda and employers that are here, RSSB, Rwanda Stock Exchange, Emile, what ideas do you have, or do you have any?
Okay.
And
I heard, and I was about to respond in the chat. So thank you, Marinej, for what you raised. And let me speak on practical terms. If you've studied history of the fall of the Roman Empire, honestly, in Rwanda, you're not going to make it out. Like, it's not going to work for you. However, in areas where Rwanda has significantly invested, in areas where you are in competition with the rest of the world, you will find the salaries that match what you make anywhere in the world. So if it's in finance, the salaries that are being offered are competitive, and you will be able to compare the advantages solely based on merit, and you won't have to take a discount for being in Rwanda. So now before, like when I came in years prior, yes, you had to take a general discount on what you had to expect. But today, Rwanda has made such significant improvements in certain areas that you can demand these salaries which are being paid abroad. And honestly, the more the better. So it's a sector-specific issue. It is not something that you would have to say, that works across the board.
Thank you, Emile. And just to reiterate, just also add on to that, I think we heard, I think it was Regis and also Celeste also talking about the type of talents they need. They need fund managers. They need actuarial science. So when you look at, if you listen closely and you hear what is actually needed, you can always negotiate a higher salary package because there's a need for that. And also even the ICT side, cybersecurity. So thank you very much for that, Emil. I see Dr. Edwards.
Hello.
I think he also wants. Sorry, Dr. Edwards. Let's take Alinda quickly. Yes, Alinda, go ahead.
Yeah, hi guys, this is Alida. So I guess I wanted to also touch on, I do have a question in the chat, but I wanted to also touch on what Marie and Emile have mentioned. I think beyond just considering full-time roles for people who are experienced, because it seems like today's discussion was more for the junior talent, people who are just finishing university and you're looking for internships and so forth. But there are plenty of people who are experienced here that have more than 10 years of work experience. And so for me, I've worked in Singapore, in the US, and one of the things that is a trend now is doing fractional work. And I think that's a good balance to be able to, still offer your skill set, but also being able to get, a package that still works for you and you can be able to work for multiple clients or companies. So just wanted to kind of maybe at least consider that when you're working with experienced talent from diaspora. My question, I think, was for Dr. Edward on the from Chief Skills Office, where I was keen to understand what upskilling work are you doing beyond the job boards and the different portals that you have. What do you have to support upskilling talent? Because for us, we've been supporting startups in Asia Pacific, Europe, US. We've got about a community of about 100 talent from Rwanda, and there's a real big skill gap in terms of what companies are looking for versus what we're able to get even after we upskill them. It still requires a lot more to really bridge that gap. So it would be interesting to understand what are you doing that we can maybe tap into to get the opportunities for the talents. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Alinda, thank you, Norbert and Marlene. Norbert, if you allow me, I start with the point raised by Marie on the question of salary differences in regards to the contribution back home.
On at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, thank you. I think when it comes to contribution of diaspora, here I'm now allow me to speak as a scholar on diaspora and development. So when it comes to contribution of diaspora, it goes beyond salaries, which I know is the role of salaries, but it goes beyond that. But also, it also matters with the framework that is already there. So I think, as Emily said, there are certain sectors that are competitive, that are able even to attract experts and be able to compensate them with the salaries they have been getting where they are. But also consider another element that you are at home. So the question here I see is an element of also lack of information that might be not enabling you to know where these opportunities are. But if you keep following up closely, you are able to get where these opportunities are, mostly in emerging sectors, and they have been highlighted in the case of the sector of finance. So that's one. Another one, it's not about coming permanently. And I think I am putting up a concept I will be discussing with my colleagues. Now, when it comes to attracting or reversing brain drain, now the current discussion, global discussion, is about brain saturation. brain saturation in a way that you don't need to come back in your origin country permanently. You can stay where you are, work in your area, but also find a way of working with your home area, your home country. Either you're working as a consultant, you are training for 1 month, 3 months, you are designing a certain strategy or whatever, you are mentoring certain younger guys who have just come into the sector. For example, the Valence and Regis talked about these areas that are emerging in the finance sector. And if you go into these institutions, these are younger talents that have entered into these positions. So imagine finding a framework where you mentor them or you train them. It doesn't need that you need to come permanently be in Rwanda. You can be there in 1 month, 2 months, or do other things remotely. But find a framework you can do that. So I think that is maybe a question that we need to discuss more. How diaspora talents can contribute. So the relevance and the rationale is there, and there is a policy will, everything. Now what is remaining is the framework, which is the most critical one. And the framework will go sector by sector, case by case. So what are we doing with upskilling? Again, this one, yes, Chief Skills Office has been doing a lot of upskilling, but also this also goes case by case, sector by sector. So for example, we work with investors that are coming to Rwanda. Once they identify certain gaps and they want talents, we work with them to design courses, and we train the people that whom they want and help them to train them, upskill them to the level they want, they can work with these people. And mostly the Chief Skills Office has been working with these people, with these sectors in manufacturing, in construction, in different areas. So another one, yes, you are right. Some students graduate when they don't have really these skills that are required by the market. So what we have been doing, we have been organizing different trainings of upskilling in soft skills in another areas. The one I could remember is one recently for soft skills. We did, and really we found improvement of 6% on job creation and getting jobs by these fresh graduates. So I wouldn't say that there is whole of this that we will need. It depends on the case. If, for example, you reach out to Chief Skills Office and I didn't show this case, the Chief Skills Office would work with you to find the way how we upskill these your target groups. Because now I don't know the areas you are working on, but this will. The program is there, and we keep working with different sectors. So the question goes beyond response interventions, and we are thinking of strategic interventions, which I highlighted of related to Sector Skills Council. We don't want to keep having thousands of graduates getting out of universities when they don't have the right skills for the market. That's why we are talking of Sector Skills Council. We work to make sure that we address this challenge of skills mismatch, but also how we plan for our skills development interventions. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. Let's take on 2 more questions. I see we have Josephine and Remy. Josephine, can you just quickly, please let's just make it short and brief. We just have the time. But yeah, Josephine, we're ready for you. Hello, Josephine, are you still there? Okay, while we wait for Josephine to come back, Remy, are you still there?
Hi. Yes, I'm here.
Yes, Remy, thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for this panel and for this discussion. It's been quite illuminating, and definitely it brings up the patriotism and also the love of home, of Rwanda, to want to come back and contribute and to want to come back and be part of the development that's happening. I really liked the stories of Emile, of Regis, who have moved back and the great work they're doing. And it really, really makes me feel like I'm tired of this cold winter here. It might be time. It might be time to go and enjoy the sun back home. So I have a couple of questions. One is for Edward. Me and a couple of my friends here in diaspora who are cybersecurity professionals, we would like to start training young people in the area of cybersecurity and information security and data security. And we're working on a model. I think we have like a business case ready where we want to train and provide this training for free of charge. And I would love to know who we can contact to work with in that area and to be able to provide that talent, because I know Rwanda is digitizing at a very, very high speed, and with a lot of companies moving to Rwanda, especially in the finance sector. I know that cybersecurity is going to be a very, very needed skills. Like skills in cybersecurity are going to be of high demand as people want to protect their information, as they want to protect their investments. So that's one. And the next one, and Edward, I think you touched on it, and Valence and Regis, you touched on it, the opportunities of consulting. This has come back. I am part of a group called CARI, Canadian Association of Rwandan Youth. And we always meet and talk about opportunities here in Canada, but also opportunities back home. And many of them who are not ready to fully commit on moving back, they would love to understand the opportunities around consulting, especially if they can consult from here. The world has changed. COVID changed everything. Now people can work from home. Or even people can work full-time from here, as long as you don't mind working the late nights. Or even people can move and provide those skills on a part-time basis for 3 months, for 6 months, even for a year, because I have seen people who did that for like 6 months and they decided not to come back. And I would love to know about that, because I am also interested, especially because of my skill set in cybersecurity and finance, but also in risk management from a fintech point of view. And thank you so much for this event and for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Remy. Thank you indeed. And just to really answer your first question, we'll be sharing the email address for the skills office. That's for everybody that has any further, even other questions, and just really wanted to follow up on certain activities. I know, I think it was a leader who wanted to follow up in terms of what they can contribute to training. So anything like that, please write to us at the Chief Skills Office. We're sharing the email in the chat box, so just look out for that. Edward, do you want anything you wanted to add from Remy's questions?
Yes, sure. And I like really the questions of Remy. These are very critical and timely. By the way, that's if we are to talk of diaspora engagement, that is where to go, because that is the most relevant area if it comes to mostly the diaspora of today. So I think one thing, there is someone who asked the question in the chat. Maybe if I could request Sandrine, if that's allowed, to share the strategy for Ministry of Foreign Affairs and international cooperation regarding diaspora engagement. There are certain cases and strategies that are there. Perhaps they might be of use for Rwandan community abroad. They can draw a lot of insights which they can work with the country back home. And some of these questions can be addressed by the content that is there. The second is on the cyber security. This is really very critical, and I'm happy that he's taking it in the area of finance. So I would suggest that you contact these two institutions because they work together, but it would be good to contact them. The Rwanda Finance, because of this element of finance, but also Chief Skills Office. So from there, we can have more discussion, concrete discussion on how to materialize this. And I'll be happy to be part of this. So another one is opportunities for consulting. This is the most critical one. And I think once you get the strategy of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for diaspora engagement, you will see international case studies on how diaspora experts work with their home countries in other countries, in South America, North Africa, Israel, and other places. So I think I don't have time to get into all these details, but perhaps this would help you. Consulting and research and academics is also the most important area that help diaspora to contribute back home. However, I think when we talk of diaspora engagement, I think the most important thing here, the government and the government institutions creates environment. That means they organize this platform, conferences, they create policies, they facilitate to, I think someone talked about investment, diaspora investment. When you go to the Rwanda Development Board, you'll get this facilitation, but there are other actors you need to reach out. For example, if you are in consulting, you need to know how the actors that are into consulting, how do you work with them? Researchers who are in these areas of research, how do you work with them? For example, maybe it would be of help for those who are on this platform. I have been looking for a researcher whom can help me to implement my research project in 3 European countries. I will implement next year. But I have not been getting someone either from Belgium or Netherlands. That one, if this person, we could work together, this would be so helpful. And this is not a voluntary, it involves compensations. So, but since both of us don't have information, that's the use of such a platform, but also trying to reach out what is going on in the country. So I think beyond what you could get from the government institution, there are other actors, which I think if you could consult the ministry, the diaspora office, Rwanda Finance, they can connect you. And we are always coordinated. We can offer this information because we need to define a framework. I would give example of Moroccan diaspora. In the strategy, you will find it. They have been supporting their country in area of consulting, policy design, supporting and advising the government, but also advising the private sector and other civil society organizations, which is, I think, is the most important thing. We need to look at how this can work. You coming for 2 weeks, whatever, and you deliver certain work, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Edward. Thank you, everybody. Again, I just want to reiterate something very important. Continue this conversation. Let's continue this engagement. I'm so abroad portal. The link Yes, so she's just editing. So please use that portal. We'll be having a lot more of these webinar sessions. I know today this one was specifically focused on finance. Previously, we've done one with ICT, but let's engage with each other through these communication channels around the community abroad. Tell us what the next session you want to be about, what you'd like to hear from us, and we will definitely take that on. We'll also keep engaging with opportunities that can need, so that when you come back, also at the office at Minafet and even further on. So allow me to bring this session to a close. And just before we close, we will give closing remarks to who has been very supportive and have been very supportive, especially with our diaspora engagement initiatives. Some of you in Canada got a chance to meet him when he was last year. Also, I think at Rwanda Day, they made an appearance there. But let me hand over to Ash to give the final remarks. Ash, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak at the end. And I do appreciate we've gone over a little bit of time. So I'll make my remarks short. I just wanted to say, well, firstly, Mawirawe, good evening, bonsoir. I think I can see someone in Jakarta, Salamat Malam. I also wanted to apologize. I was only able to join the last sort of half an hour of this because I was on a plane actually when this diaspora engagement and finance sector webinar started. But I just wanted to say a couple of words. I overheard some really interesting discussion and some really valid questions there. And as IOM, the UN Migration Agency, I just want to reassure that we're going to continue to work really closely with our wonderful colleagues in government, particularly in Minafet, and the others in the Chief Skills Office, the Rwandan Social Security Board, the Rwandan Stock Exchange, Rwandan Finance Limited, Rwandan National Bank, MINIFRA, and the RCA within Minafet, to continue to try to strengthen this diaspora engagement. Some of you may be unaware, but we worked with the government on a 5-year diaspora strategy, and it's really, and I think we've already seen quite a number of success stories under this. We've managed, as IOM, together with government, to mobilize diaspora in the hospitality sector, in the health sector, in the polytechnic colleges, and now we're focusing on finance. I noticed that there were some questions about, are we going to broaden this out? Certainly from the IOM perspective, we'd like to see that. I heard some comment, I think it was Director Sandrine mentioned the 2050 vision. The reality is that in terms of achieving these really audacious, fantastic goals of Rwanda, we're going to need to tap that diaspora. That we believe almost 600,000 diaspora just within sort of Europe and Northern America. And I certainly met so many talented people when I had the privilege of joining the Youth Convention in Ottawa last year. So I did also just want to comment on specifically how we can help. We're facilitating at the moment the exchange of knowledge and skills between diaspora experts and local institutional Rwanda, particularly in the finance sector. And what we can provide help with is providing the air tickets, providing a daily allowance. Look, I'll be honest with you, you're not going to necessarily be earning the income that you are in your country right now, particularly if you're coming from North America or Europe. However, and I think that Dr. Edward might have mentioned it, looking at diaspora engagement goes way beyond just the financial aspects of this. We're talking about helping grow the socioeconomic development of the beautiful country of Rwanda. And I was attending a private sector function actually last night that was in the property and development area under support of Shelter Afrique. And I was so impressed with all of these businesses that were dynamic and growing. It was a level of excitement just within the private sector growth, facilitated by a very progressive Kigali government. The mayor was there, and I believe also the RDB was there as well. And I just think it was an indication of the fast growth that we're seeing in the country, and it's an exciting space to be it in the finance sector or be it in many of the other sectors. So I want to say that I will continue to support MINIFET and our other government partners and private sector partners in strengthening the capacity of the Rwandan financial institutions and regulators, enhancing linkages between the Rwandan diaspora financial actors and the development of diaspora investment products and platforms, all in the hope that we can contribute our small part as IOM to the 2050 vision of Rwanda. We recognise the challenges we face, such as mobility and availability of diaspora experts. That's why we have platforms like this, and we want to reach out to you. We recognise that there's some limited awareness. It's a growing awareness, thanks a lot to the work of RCA and the embassies in abroad. But we do need to do more work on this, and we want to celebrate some of those lessons learned, including the value of a demand-driven approach, the importance of building trust between partners, and the necessity of us, continuing to strengthen those diaspora engagement. So once again, I'd really like to thank from IOM's perspective, all of those that contributed today, particularly the panel speakers, and all of you for taking the time out on your weekend to participate in this. It just shows I've worked across the world and engaged in a lot of diasporas, and I have to say Rwanda is one of the most impressive I've come across. Just the desire to contribute is really heartwarming. So I invite you to share your feedback, your suggestions, to stay in touch and remain engaged with all of those that are on this call that have spoken to you today. And Mirakoze Chane, thank you, merci beaucoup, and I wish you a wonderful weekend.
Thank you very much, Carl. Again, for those of you who don't know, that's Ash Carl, for Chief of Mission from IOM, who have been very instrumental in our engagement with the Rwandan community abroad. So I think this brings this session to an end. We've just gone a bit over 30 minutes. And again, just some key things. If you look at the chat box before we close off the session, please look at those email addresses. There's how to get in contact with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. It's how you can get to the Chief Skills Office through the Ministry of Public Service and Labor. There is also the links for Rwanda Finance Limited. And yeah, so please, all your questions, please address them to us. Please let's keep this engagement going. The State of Skills report. Go enjoy your weekend. I just have one challenge for you. I think it was Valets, one of them from BNR, who mentioned that remittance from the Rwanda community abroad is currently the second biggest contributor to the economy after tourism revenue. I want us to give ourselves a challenge, and next year, 2025, let's give ourselves a challenge that we beat the tourism industry. I'll get those numbers from Valence. Valence, if you're still here, what are we? If you can share those numbers, what is tourism getting at right now? Valence, I think he's left. Sorry, but yeah, but let's make it a goal to be number one, and yeah, I'm sure we can do that. Sandrine, to look at me, she's quite confident we can do that, and yeah, thank you very much. And bid you farewell. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.